New Channels has no responsibility for the content or opinions expressed therein.
In a timely fashion by next year, I have asked Jess Warner to head up a committee to be made up of the town council, the planning board, and one or two others. As soon as this is all firmed up, I will again be in touch with you. It's going to be a lot of work, but the results are necessary and are overdue. Any other new business?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, I have some new business that I think I need to address with the town board. I'm not really sure how to begin with this, but I think I'll start by mentioning, first of all, most people are aware of the controversy surrounding the county budget problems and so on. And one thing that bothers me a lot, and has for quite a while, last year this county was number 2 as far as per capita taxes on people in this county. And this year we moved up to number 1 according to a report in the Syracuse newspaper 2 weeks ago. And with that in mind, and it's the biggest determining factor in my concern for what I'm about to present to the board tonight. Let me start by saying that last Monday I received a phone call from a woman on the Kingdom Road. And she was asking me, complaining actually about a situation over there because the highway superintendent has been blacktopping the road over there. And he had to build the surface up quite a bit. And this woman was telling me that her driveway dropped off 12 inches from the road to her driveway. And she came up from work, she did some damage to her car, she pulled into her driveway. And finding it hard to believe that 12 inches of blacktop would be left on the edge of the driveway for someone to drive into, I went over and looked at it myself. At the same time, she pointed out to me that our supervisor was blacktopping the parking lot over at the fire station number 2 on March Road, and asked me if that was town property. And I said, absolutely not. So I went over to see Mr. Kirkling about it. And Mr. Kirkling told me that he was using county equipment and blacktopping equipment to the town 3 by the county. And I said, well, that may be, I don't know, but I said, we have some taxpayers over here that have some problems getting into their driveways from the road that you paved in the last few weeks. And I think you should be addressing that issue first. And he informed me there was a nice day, he had the county's equipment and a free blacktop, and he was going to do this job today, and he'd get to them when he could. The woman told me that Mr. Kirkland had told her the reason he couldn't get to her right away is because the town board didn't allow enough funding, enough manpower for him to do all that he had to do, and he would get to it when he got to it. I returned home, finding it hard to believe that the county was giving any blacktop away to anybody. I called Donald Morey, highway superintendent for Seward County, and I asked him how he went about divvying up this free blacktop that we were getting. And he informed me that they don't give away any free blacktop. So I told him the situation going on at that time at fire station number 2. He told me that he wasn't sure what was going on, and I asked him if he would check it out. And then he thought for a moment and said, well, wait a minute, maybe that's one of our trade-off deals. And I said, could you explain what that means to me? And he said that in the wintertime, our highway department salts roads in this town that are county roads. And instead of sending a bill to the county for the payment of salting the roads and the men to do it, we in turn get blacktop to maintain our roads in the summertime. I said, well, that's fine and dandy if it works out, but he's not paving town highway roads, he's paving private property. And he said he didn't know about that, but he would get back to me. He hasn't gotten back to me yet, but I had a call from another individual that told me that this was a deal that was set up, appears to be with the county and possibly our legislator, Bill Buck. And if that's the case, I want to get to the bottom of it. I want this board to know that this is going on. I know that there's such a thing as in-kind services, but I don't believe this would fall into that category since it's private property. Earlier this spring, he paved part of Station 1. And I asked him about that at the time because at the time we were trying to build a park and we would have liked to have had a blacktop basketball court. And I asked him about that and he couldn't get to it. He couldn't put his men in the park over there because he said that he just wouldn't have his men on that property. Yet he could have his men on the fire department's property, which is one and the same because we're leasing it from them. But in any case, he couldn't do the basketball court. He told me that he was getting the blacktop free from the county, and that they designated to him what projects had to be done with that blacktop. Well, I found out that that's not true. And what I'm going to propose is two things. One, we look into this further, find out who is at the bottom of this. And second of all, Mr. Kerfing also told me in the last 2 years that the only authority this town board has over him is his budget. And we tell him how much money he can have for a year to spend. Well, I found out also that that's not true. Section 284 of the highway law points out that he has to reach an agreement with this town board concerning the roads that he wants to pave, repair, and so on. And that after that agreement is reached, a written statement has to be signed by this town board and him and filed with the county's highway superintendent, our town clerk, and the state controller's office. To my knowledge, this has never been done, at least not since I've been on the board. I wasn't even aware that this had to be done. He led me to believe that he didn't have to listen to us or anything, but I find out different. I have a copy of section 284 that I'd like to give the town board so you can review this on your time. But I think that we ought to start having him comply, and we should start complying with this law. And the other thing is, when we get to the bottom of this, I think that we should find out who's responsible. And I don't blame the fire department or the individual that was involved with them. I blame the people in authority that were elected to withhold the standards of elected office. And I think that if Mr. Kerfing is involved in this and he's the one responsible, or Mr. Buck, or whoever it is in the county that's involved, should reimburse the taxpayers of this town for the blacktop, which I would estimate to be $20,000 to $30,000 for the blacktop, based on. I don't know why you're laughing at me. Is that funny? You don't think so? My driveway was $3,000. It's about a tenth of what that driveway was at a parking lot. In any case, I'm presenting this to the board, and I think we ought to consult with our attorney on this, what to do. If we have to go into executive session, fine. But I'm going to find out who's responsible, and it will be returned to the taxpayers of this town because it belongs.
Howard, at the start, you used the as authorized by the supervisor.
I'm sorry, superintendent of highway.
I want that clarified. And board, I see what we will be looking at. Any other new business? Before we get into petitions, I see that G. Conway is on.
This is here in Volney. We're there. There was about 40 kids shooting over there and 10 adults, and shot for a couple hours. And as of right now, we have about 60 kids signed up for the program for archery classes. I'd like to thank Jesse Warner and his family for assisting us over there in getting the final preparations done on the field. It rained right up until 2 days before we did this, and we had to fight to get it in, but we did, and the day went good. And the recreation committee was also involved in that. On the 20th, the next day, we had Volney Days. It was a family fun fair. It was well received. We had approximately 210 to 220 kids, plus their parents that showed up. We did them down at the Volney School. It was in conjunction with the Volney Recreation Committee. We ran obstacle course and running races, frisbee toss, a three-legged race, balloon toss, bubblegum blowing, a lot of things for the kids. The children that were there, through their own wanting to get involved, were doing fortune telling and wishing well, identification booth, and we did have a lot of people involved into it. A lot of local businesses donated services and prizes for the kids, and it went over real well. We're hoping to do that again next year if everything works out right. Then on the 28th, we had the Show of Love come to town. It's by JPS Music. It was given at Volney School in cooperation with Mr. Wall. He set aside 2 hours for us to bring this show to the kids. All 600 plus children of Volney School seen this show. This show is set up primarily as an anti-drug, anti-alcohol theme, but it brings the kids into the show. It's not just one person up there. It's a musical show, and it got the kids well involved, and they really received the show. It was a good time for the kids. So all kids K through 6 were involved into it, and I've had a lot of comments, positive comments afterwards. We put on a great show. We started classes last Sunday over at the archery course, and we're going to be doing them again this Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. And there about 40 kids are going to be shooting this Saturday. And as far as that, that's all we did last month, and we have a couple things planned for this next month with up in concrete as well. That's all.
Thank you.
The zoning board is going to meet next Wednesday night, October 14th, and we generally meet at 7 o'clock, but we're going to meet at 6 o'clock, and that's been posted in the newspaper, and it's also out on the board here. Our regular meeting will start at 6, and we have 2 public hearings that'll start at 7 o'clock. The first one is at the request of Mr. David Evans of Whitaker Road. He wants to build a garage, but he will need a 3.5-foot front yard variance and 3.5-foot variance between his house and the proposed garage. Also, we're going to have a continuation of a hearing that we started during the month of September, and that's for Mr. Brian Hall of Rowley Road. He's requested a 13-foot front yard variance for his mobile home. Other than that, regular business.
We received a notification from the county highway department in which a request was made to lower the speed limit on Kingdom Road. However, the request was bounced back to the parties because it has to originate with town roads, it has to originate with this board. So I assume that woman realizes that requested it, but she called back, Byron. I'll give her another call, but anyway, if you want to change that speed limit on a town road, it must come through the town board. Public comment.
Mr. Supervisor, before that, is there anything that we could make a small resolution to pass this information on to the county so we can get the ball rolling on this meeting?
Well, we have to get a request.
So we just gotta get a new request.
We don't even know, quite frankly, Jess, I don't even know what area they're talking about. I know it's a certain area, but I'm not specifically what area, I don't know. But you know what you're saying. They don't specify. Public comment ban.
I'd like to, if I could, as a private individual, respond to Mr. Rose's remarks concerning the blacktop. I find it rather amusing since they didn't seem to find any problem with the town getting free garbage service or free garbage dump off. That he has a problem with the town receiving a little free blacktop. This deal was actually a trade-off in services due to the fact that over the last couple of years we've fought a couple of fires at the dump. We protect the air show, and we don't get anything for doing that anymore because the air show got so large. We had to bring in other volunteer fire departments to help us, and consequently the check that the air show gives now goes to the County Chiefs Association for a scholarship fund. In addition to the air show, we've been on 4 plane mishaps over there in the last year. We've been on 2 or 3 rescues at the landfill. At the airport, we've helped them backflush the hydrants and so forth, the dry hydrants. And we were looking to get Station 2 paved, mainly because of the voting that goes on down there. We've had a problem with elderly people walking across some of the parking lot, stepping on stones and so forth. There certainly wasn't anything underhanded about it. We made the request, and they felt that with everything that we've done for them the last couple of years, that it was agreeable, that they didn't see a problem with it. And as far as using the town's manpower, that they did. Basically, the station was done in the early morning hours while they were waiting for the roads to dry, because they can't do the blacktop work until the roads are dry. And I just, I'm just very disappointed. And then I found out today that our counselors called the Syracuse newspapers to get them to do a big write-up on it, along with an internal problem that we do have in the fire department. And I'm not saying that the newspapers don't have the right to know, but I find it very low that a member of the town board has to call a newspaper to get them to do a story on the fire department. They're trying to make something out of what's really nothing. And because of these actions, when I go to the monthly meeting next month, or excuse me, this month, and again, I'm speaking for myself and not the membership, but I am going to make a motion that we send our lease for the park back down to our attorney, have it reviewed, and if there's anything that violates it, then I'm going to make a motion that the lease be withdrawn. And I'm also going to make a motion that the town find someplace else for voting. All these years, we've cleaned that station every year for the ladies. We've gone out of our way to make sure that it's dry, that the heat's up 2 or 3 days in advance. And we've been doing nothing but getting slammed all year. And quite frankly, I've fed up and I've had enough.
I appreciate
The civic fees are for everyone in this town. The fire department parking lot is for the firemen. There's a big difference there. And I do support a ticket fee reduction for the people in this town.
I see the fire department doesn't service everybody in the town.
That's not the question here, Dan. There's a legitimate way to go about doing things, and just making deals behind closed doors is not the way. It never came before this board. You people do deserve a lot, and if you need to get compensated for something, you go about it the right way. You don't do it that way. That is not the way to conduct business. And that blacktop was not meant for that parking lot. It was meant for town roads. And if you made a deal with the county, then the county should be up and up about it. It should be a record of the deal. This is what we're doing for them for doing this. But there's no such record unless they bring something out in the next couple of days that I wouldn't be surprised to see. But don't make it look like I'm trying to badmouth the fire department.
The only thing you're doing, Mr. Rose, is trying to make yourself look good, and you're trying to hang Bob for being.
I'm doing my job, Mr. Russo.
By going to the newspapers?
Oh, is there something wrong with telling the press about a meeting tonight that they should be here for? I don't see anything wrong with that.
We've had newspaper reporters calling us all day about you, about your stories, about all the underhandedness
Yes, I
going on.
That's the only thing I told them. I don't know what else.
Well, maybe you should have come here to the meeting first and been brought up in front of the people before you went to the newspapers.
The newspapers are going to bring to the people that aren't here.
Did you have a problem when the fire station offered all that land for you guys to use for a park for $1 for 25 years? You took it like that. You didn't question that. But when it turns around to give something to the fire station, let's go to the newspapers.
Give the taxpayers money. We budgeted very well for you last year. We gave you a $40,000 increase.
And we gave you all that land. You didn't have to go and buy that land.
Excuse me, my husband's a fireman too. And just because of one person, you're going to screw it for everybody else? My husband's been in that fire department a long time.
Okay, well, the fire department's probably going to have to spend $8,000 now for that
Well,
blacktop.
why? Because you want to screw it?
All right. Is there any other comment?
About the park over here. I really don't think the park has anything to do with what they're talking about right now. That's for the kids.
But we keep, the fire department keeps doing and doing and doing for the town, and the town
Anything
says,
else.
That is the
I'm
town part.
I'm talking now.
One at a time, please, Randy.
What I'm saying is, don't take something away from the kids just because you guys are having a problem. If you got a problem, that's a problem. But leave the kids alone.
That's right.
Okay. Anybody else have a comment? Yes.
I guess I have to put my 2 cents in, and I was on the board that whole budget money for the fire department. I understand what Howard is saying. There is a problem with blacktopping a private corporation, whether it be a church, whether it be the Grange, or anything. It leads the taxpayers to believe that there's something not correct. I'm sure it wasn't that private when they were blacktopping the fire department. People questioned Howard and said, why is it being done? he has to investigate that. That's one of the reasons people are elected. If a taxpayer calls him up and says, how come my driveway isn't being fixed and why is the private corporation being blacktopped, he has to act on that.
But Howard could come and talk to people. He could have came and talked to Danny or Terry Lund. He knows they know everything's going on in that fire department. He could have come and said, Dan, Terry, can you tell me what's going on or something? He doesn't have to go behind people's back and call newspapers, and he could come and talk to people first. That's a decent way of doing something first.
Well, I'm sure, but he went to Bob Murphy and asked what he was doing, and then Bob just said, when I get to it, I'm going to do the roads. And that had to concern people that were on Kingdom Road. If I was there and my car got damaged, I would be filing a lawsuit with the town. And I think that's what this town had to be concerned about, and that's what Howard did. He took action. And I can understand, I don't blame the fire department either. I think that maybe they're totally innocent of this. I don't know who made this arrangement, but there was money budgeted. They needed a blacktop. Maybe they should have budgeted for it. And nobody is denying anybody the blacktop or the park or anything else. There was a good thing going here, and I think if there was a misunderstanding to penalize the entire town to stop this park because of personal reasons, that's not fair. The fire department and the town board have worked together. Howard's just saying that the blacktop shouldn't have been put there without an agreement in place with the board. And with everything going on in the county right now, people are hurting in this county. We're #1 per capita in taxes, and somebody better be concerned about our taxes. And I think we ought to be grateful that Howard did question this. Maybe this will stop, and we won't be handing out blacktop to people or salt or putting in drain tiles. I don't know what's going on, but I think that someone has to question that. And there's nothing funny about that. We as taxpayers are hurting in this county, and you as a town board as a whole ought to be concerned about it. And maybe we should sit down with Mr. Buck or the county and find out what happened and get back with some answers. And maybe that'll alleviate Dan's concern. But don't stop the park.
I have to agree that bringing this, bringing it to the attention of the press, and then inviting the press here tonight to hear this,
Town board
is not the right way to do it. What he should have done, if he is truly interested in having it done correctly, is come before us as a group, the supervisor knew nothing of this. The other members of the town council knew nothing of this. And this is, it is brought to our attention. Again, I have to believe that he is doing it for his own purposes.
You're saying he should have done behind closed doors again?
No, he could have brought it to us on Tuesday when we had our open meeting.
Mr. Supervisor?
Yes.
My name is Jan DeVoe. I'm photographed, if you'd like to see them. I waited, and I waited hours. And then I called back. I talked with Pat Kirkman. She said, no problem, keep it right there. Well, I was upset. I was afraid. The adrenaline was up. I pulled into my driveway, just the front of my car, and the whole front end smashed into my driveway. And so, of course, I didn't continue into the driveway. I slowly backed out, and I sat there in the middle of the intersection, shaking. There was a man on March Road directing traffic and stuff. I don't know if he noticed me or not. But the trucks for the town were down on Senators Hill. Now it's Jobways Hill. And I drove down, and I spoke with the gentleman I presumed was in charge, the man with the coffee cup. And it was lovely. He told me that he didn't have enough men, and he didn't have enough money, and he didn't have enough time. But first thing Monday morning, rain or shine, Mrs. DeVoe, I will fix your driveway. Well, first thing Monday morning came, and the kids got on the bus, and the equipment started coming, and the signs started going up, and he paraded down March Road. And I got upset. And 9 o'clock came, and he still hadn't come to my door yet. And so then I called the town building again. And the woman assured me that the message would be given, and she's sorry no one has contacted me yet. And my husband's upset because his gas tank's cracked, and his muffler got ripped off, and the struts on my car are shot in the front end because I fell in the driveway. And I said, there's got to be someone who will come and see this now. And she couldn't help me. She didn't, and I tried to assure her, I am not a hysterical housewife looking for somebody to be mad at. I just need some dirt. I need some help. So I started remembering a meeting I had seen televised, and I remembered Mr. Rose, and I called him, and I said, please come here and look. I'm not a hysterical housewife. This is real. There are some ridiculous pictures. Food that nobody, when you go down the line the way you're supposed to, responds. I'd like to give you these photos.
How many days was this before you called Howard?
3 days we lived like that. And my rapport with the men on the road crew was wonderful until I called Mr. Rose. Then all of a sudden, the looks I got and the gestures I got, but before that, I could give them lemonade and that was fine. And they sat underneath my big tree for their lunch breaks. And my children visited with them. And it was nice. And I had spoken with Mr. Kerfine on numerous occasions because I live on the corner. So I get to see a lot of activity both ways. And it was fine until I complained. And I wasn't complaining that the fire department was blacktop. I think they deserve blacktop and a lot more. I was complaining because I didn't have any dirt in my yard. And because my children were getting hurt. Because it wasn't safe.
Sorry. Are there any other? Brent Fanning, Dan Russo, Paul Tetro, Suzanne Harrington Lee, Shirley Vinch, and Philip LaValle.
The preceding program was not a New Channels production, and New Channels has no responsibility for the content or opinions expressed therein.